Anytime the conversation of the biggest fraud in Naruto is brought up, the king of frauds is never in the discussion. The series itself hypes him up to be this absolute behemoth, making people believe he can do insane things like beat Kisame and Itachi at the same time. When in reality, he never does anything near that level. All his showings point the other bloody direction. The first thing everyone always brings up is that he's one of the legendary Sannin, and that sounds cool. But y'all remember how he got the title? He fought against Hanzo with a whole f***ing army and two more Sannin just to lose. And then Hanzo gave them the title of the legendary Sannin. Hanzo wasn't even that strong either. Sure, he was nerfed by Edo Tensei when he lost to Mifune, but he still lost to Mifune. And I don't think Edo Tensei is gonna make the difference of two more Sannin and a whole f***ing army. Minato took like an hour to beat 50 random soldiers, and although it was a much larger army, an army did end up beating the third Raikage. If that doesn't convince you, Chiyo used to fight this guy routinely. It was 1-on-1, not 3-on-1. So unless you think Chiyo's some god tier, Hanzo's not really that strong. And on top of that, Kakuzu never got jacked off for losing to Hashirama, who's way stronger than Hanzo. So the title of like the legendary Sannin is just absolute ass. It doesn't even matter at all. And then the showings he has are all complete dog water. The first time we see him fight is when all the Sannin are nerfed. Orochimaru's got no arms. Tsunade is all bloodied up. She's been jumping in front of Orochimaru's attacks to save Naruto. She gets stabbed through the chest. She gets slashed in the back. She's dealing with the hemophobia, all this. And then Jiraiya just takes a drug that reduces his chakra, but then it comes back later because he can summon Gamabunta. Despite him being the least nerfed, he also does the least in the fight. Orochimaru fights them 2-on-1. Tsunade one-shots Manda, one-shots Orochimaru. All Jiraiya does is like a dark swamp and this fireball attack that does nothing to Manda. The anime does portray this fight a lot differently. However, in the manga, Orochimaru is just fighting Jiraiya, and then Tsunade comes in, instantly deals with Manda, instantly deals with Orochimaru. Orochimaru retreats. That's all that happens. And even though Jiraiya did absolutely nothing in contributing to Orochimaru's defeat, he suffers a broken leg and broken ribs. You'll see this consistently throughout the series, a reoccurring thing. His endurance is terrible. Because the next time we hear anything about him combat-wise is that Tsunade almost killed him in a single punch and the Four Tails almost killed him. The Tsunade thing you could say is for comedy, sort of. It's also meant to show how strong Tsunade is. Anytime it's mentioned in the manga, it's never in a comedic tone, but I do think it's comedy. Anyway, there's still no excuse for almost dying against Four-Tail Naruto. Sure, he wasn't trying to kill Naruto, but at the same time, all he had to do was put a stick on him and he almost died. Orochimaru, while having his arms sealed by Hiruzen, was boxing with the same Naruto, sending him flying across the forest and stuff. Jiraiya wasn't trying to kill Naruto, but he should have easily been able to subdue him if he was as strong as full power Orochimaru. Orochimaru, while being in a much stronger form, fought against Itachi. Itachi was losing his sight, and Orochimaru still got no dift. So the idea of Jiraiya beating Itachi is just completely nonsensical. Four Tails Naruto took a while to break out of Yamato's basic wood bindings before he used the actual seal one to put him back into base form. Kisame, while having almost no power left, broke out of Yamato's wood bindings quicker than the Four Tails Naruto could. This is Kisame after he's got like no chakra left. He just took a Hirudora and he's still broken out of it, but somehow Jiraiya can beat Kisame and Itachi at the same time. That statement also implies that Kisame is around Zabuza's level and Itachi is just some random Uchiha, even though they're both like the strongest of their groups without counting Madara. It also implies that Itachi and Kisame are below any of the Sannin, which we already seen Itachi destroy one of the legendary Sannin. Plus Jiraiya with Minato's help was about to die against Han and Roshi. We already seen Roshi lose to Kisame. Itachi is stronger than Kisame, so Itachi and Kisame together would destroy Han and Roshi. After his encounter with the Four-Tail Naruto, Jiraiya does not do anything all the way till he fights Konan. He does try to sneak attack Konan with a fireball jutsu, but Konan dodges it. Konan tries chuck paper at him, but he dodges that. And then he manages to defeat Konan with oil. Konan scales to absolutely no one. In the anime, she's fast enough to keep up with Obito, but in the manga, Obito stands still. So that doesn't even scale his speed to anywhere. That's pretty much it for base Jiraiya, although he does fight one Path of Pain. In this fight, he's just defending the whole time though. It's physically the weakest Path of Pain, the animal path. The reason I say it's the weakest is because when Naruto throws the Roshan Shuriken, all the pain paths can dodge it apart from the animal path, which needs a path to throw him away. In the anime, Jiraiya is able to beat the dog summon, but that never happens in the manga. In the manga, he doesn't beat a single summon in base. Keep in mind, Tsunade instantly slammed Manda, and it's not like the Pain Pad summons are that strong. The big ass Rhino and Dog are fighting 4 random Anbu and Ibiki for 4 chapters, and the giant centipede gets one shot by Sakura. In the anime, they're overpowering Gamabunta, but that's filler. In the manga, he just slashes them and they go fight the weaker frogs. That's all that happens. He goes into Sage mode and then he beats a summon. Not as easy as Tsunade did, but a bit easier than how Nia Blind Itachi slammed Orochimaru's Hydra. Manda and Orochimaru though are way stronger than these summons. Anyway, Jiraiya's main fight where everyone glazes him is when he fights the 3 paths of pain at once. First thing he does is blitz the human path, and you might be like, that seems like a good feat because there's still pain in it, but the weaker paths of pain are extremely weak. One path of pain took an entire chapter just to beat a Konohamaru clone. Sasuke as a kid one-shot 5 Zabuza clones. Water clones are stronger than shadow clones. Zabuza's leagues above Konohamaru. And then to top it off, Konohamaru beat that path of pain. The Praetor path was getting pressed by Kiba's mom. And then Ibiki is able to hold his own against the animal path. So yeah, the weaker paths of pain are extremely weak, and blitzing one isn't really a feat worth mentioning. All the human path did was beat Shizune, and Pain decided to sacrifice it, so it's probably the least useful in combat. He has cool hacks where he can rip people's souls out, but it only works if they're weaker than him. For example, Nagato, who was way stronger than Naruto and B, still had to struggle ripping their souls out. Because you have to win the chakra tug of war. The next feat everyone glazes Jiraiya for is when he blitzes his sandal, falling at free fall speed. And apparently this is some amazing feat. Hello? Did you watch part 1? Rock Lee was juggling Gaara mid-air while kicking him downwards. Haku is able to blitz one raindrop 10 times over before it reaches the ground. Sasuke is able to perceive the same Haku after he awakens his Sharingan and even intercept and strike him down to the ground. Base form Lee blitzes a possibly even stronger Sasuke. Whether he got stronger or not since that fight is irrelevant. Base Lee is faster than how fast Haku was going when Sasuke could perceive him. This isn't me saying Jiraiya is slower than Base Lee as a kid, it's just me saying that the sandal feat is irrelevant. If you really wanted to wank Jiraiya though and say all Pains are the same speed, then Pain's best speed feat is keeping up with Kakashi and keeping up with base Naruto, so as soon as Naruto goes Sage mode in the manga, he kicks him flying. He never keeps up with Sage mode, and he never keeps up with Six Tails either. Six Tails jump sends him flying a massive distance, and then Pain runs away, he jumps once. Six Tails closes the gap, he uses planetary devastation, which moves Six Tails Naruto away from himself. Obviously, Jiraiya doesn't scale this high, it's an extreme highball, but some people have him above people like the f***ing Raikage who can keep up with KCM1 Naruto. Jiraiya carries on fighting these paths of pain, doing absolutely nothing to them, then says, 3 of them is a bit much, even in Sage mode I'll be killed. To put this into perspective, imagine Ibiki, Kiba's mom and Konohamaru had shared virgin, and they were fighting someone like Hidan, let's say, and he feared for his life. He'd be labelled a fraud immediately, but everyone just wants to deride Jiraiya for the same speed. Well, maybe not Hidan since he's immortal, but you get the point. He does manage to beat them eventually with some overpowered genjutsu in a narrow hallway, but Killer B in base form was fucking up Sasuke, Suigetsu and Jugo at the same time, a lot easier than Jiraiya against those 3 Pains. And Sasuke, Suigetsu and Jugo are much stronger than those 3 Pains, and Kisame was beating version 1B on land, and he was just as fast as him. After beating those 3 paths of pain, Jiraiya's endurance is shown on full display against the Ashura path. And like a Jew taking foreskin, the Ashura path rips Jiraiya's arm off with a single punch. Then he sees all 6 paths of pain and the fight's off-screen. It cuts to him beating the animal path but getting roddied in the process. So say Jiraiya scales above the animal path in a 1v1 at least, I guess. Jiraiya goes back to the surface and then immediately has his throat crushed by the Ashura path, unable to react. Kakashi, by the way, was able to fight the Tendo and Ashura path at the same time, and he would have beat the Tendo path if Ashura path never came. He would have just pulled in his lightning clone, get zapped, and then lightning bladed, and he'd be dead. And then after Kakashi was nearly dead, Pain didn't even want to get near him. He used that pin to kill him from far. While with Jiraiya, he just thought he's dead, left him. Jiraiya got back up, he just killed him instantly. Apart from getting destroyed by the Ashura path, Jiraiya's only other endurance feats are almost dying to 4-tail Naruto, having his ribs and legs broken against Orochimaru, and then almost dying to Tsunade. Kakuzu took a hit from Yugito's fully transformed state. Kisame beat Roshi, a perfect Jinchuriki. Jiraiya's endurance is just not on the level of the characters people say he's stronger than. There's a statement from Pain at the end of the fight that people like to use, where if he knew Pain's secret, he would have won. This could mean a million different things. It could mean he's just smart enough with prep time, or he could go directly to Nagato, but let's assume he's talking about fighting him in a 6v1. That's immediately contradicted by Sage Naruto being stated to surpass Jiraiya and Minato, but losing to Pain while having 3 clones on standby for energy refills. And then just think about it, the Ashura path completely destroyed Jiraiya, ripping his arm off, crushing his throat with no resistance. You really think if you add the Diva path on top of that, Jiraiya's gonna come out on top? I guess the last thing someone's gonna bring up is author intention and narrative, saying he should be equal to the other Sanin, even though Kishimoto always changes his mind on things. Let's address these. Jiraiya used to be equal to Tsunade and Orochimaru, apparently, and Hiruzen was above them. In the 10 years Orochimaru was out the village, he was learning jutsu and getting stronger. He perfected Edo Tensei and then killed Hiruzen, who's narratively above Jiraiya. Jiraiya in those 10 years was busy gooning, in a manga where hard work and dedication pay off. Tsunade was depressed and gambling, so that's a bit more of an argument, but we see in the war arc that she's meant to be a rival for the Raikage, especially for using titles like Kage and Sanin and stuff. And we see in the war arc, Raikage can keep up with KCM1 Naruto, who's way stronger than Sage Naruto, who's already narratively surpassed Jiraiya. So no, Jiraiya doesn't scale to the other Sanin, and he doesn't scale anywhere near people say he does. Just to recap the entire video, his title sucks, he got it for losing to Hanzo with an army and is probably a Mifune victim. Almost died to Tsunade, but you could say as a joke. He did the worst in the 3-way deadlock fight with the Sanin, with Tsunade one-shotting Manda and Orochimaru having no arms but still breaking Jiraiya's ribs and leg. Nearly died against Four-Tailed Naruto, who an almost dead Orochimaru was scrapping against. Beat Konan, who beat Sorcery in one of the games if you want to count it, but it's non-canon. Beat 3 Paths of Pain, who were able to fight against Ibiki and Kiba's mom. And then he got his shit absolutely rocked by the Ashura path.